we are going to explore some solutions for the African continent. I'm sure most of us will agree that the continent is lagging behind in terms of development. So we are looking at those solutions which do not necessarily require donor funding or borrowing money from the IMF and the World Bank. Any erudite individual who walks into a supermarket, a pharmacy, or just a restaurant, for example, to buy a commodity, the first thing they look at is the price. If they are happy with the price, the next thing they check on is the expiry date. Only when one is satisfied with the expiry date, that's when he or she can gladly pay for the commodity. The final task will be to plan on how to utilize that commodity before the said expiry date in order to get value for money. Very important that. No matter how desperate one is or how cheap the commodity is, if it is beyond its shelf life, one will not pay for it unless, of course, he or she intends to feed it to the pigs. And if one has to buy an expired commodity for any reason whatsoever, they won't pay for the marked price for it. If you are a good negotiator, you may even end up getting the expired commodity for free. The shop attendants or the product manufacturers, on realizing that the product has outlived its shelf life, they will quickly remove the product from the shelf. Most people will agree that a product without an expiry date is either suspicious or it loses its intrinsic value. The expiry date is not just a date that is picked from the blue, but a lot of research goes into it, by highly qualified experts. These gurus will come up with this most important date, which may determine your well-being after consumption of the said product. The importance of the expiry date on products cannot be overemphasized. I targeted different professionals in civil service and in the private sector and asked to see their graduation certificates. I had an opportunity to see a number of certificates from different universities. I was not looking at the size or the most colorful of them all. I was looking for something special, and unfortunately, on all the graduation certificates I got hold of, that special part was missing. Then immediately I realized why my village has seen very little growth, if not remained the same despite the number of graduates from the village or those who are all associated with the village in one way or the other. I realized why most of my compatriots are living in squalor when governments are investing trillions of dollars in education and while universities are producing thousands of graduates annually. It then occurred to me why university students have been active in the Fees Must Fall campaign. And indeed, fees have fallen in some countries in Africa. Africa cannot move forward. Our politicians will continue to be complacent while the complicit graduates are roaming the streets. Standards will continue to fall, and the African child will live miserably, going hungry, walking long distances in search for education, or opting to die while crossing the Mediterranean Sea in search for a better life. Our graduation certificates do not have an expiry date. Stupid. Neither are they a rare commodity or a mineral. The fact that graduation certificates don't expire makes them more of an a recognition than an accomplishment. And to add salt to injury, there are no obligations or after graduation evaluations. Do you think if certificates had expiry dates, we could be faced with these challenges that we have? Do you think we could be having the same levels of mediocrity that we witness today? The missing but all important date on graduation certificates is probably by design, designed to determine our destiny, or to be more precise, our doomed destiny. Africa is lagging behind, and there are no signs of agency to keep up with the developed world. Why should any reasonable person invest in a certificate that does not expire, that does not have an expiry date, or any deterrent conditions attached to it? Of what value is a certificate which doesn't expire? And why is it that universities the world over have not set expiry dates on certificates? The world is fast changing, so does the knowledge. Having access to free university education and graduating with a certificate which doesn't expire is double tragedy for Africa. Firstly, the one receiving free education can easily be tempted into complacence, leading to mediocrity, and the same can be said for the institutions which are offering free education. We should resist and until death do us part kind of arrangement, even when the chemistry is long gone. It is important that we surely acknowledge that a person who graduated, say, some 30 years ago and was, really doing nothing, is still worth the certificates they were issued then. I am proposing a situation where one must be able to go back to his university and say to the institution that the education you provided me with did or did not assist me in any way. And here is your certificate. It was a waste of time, in the first place. And the other way around, where the university can say, you did not make good use of the education that we offered you, and it's time we revoke our certificate. Universities must also have the authority to revoke certificates that have expired and are not renewed. This is one way the university can remain the leader in development and nation building. That can also be a source of income for the struggling institutions, especially those offering free university education. not a popular proposition, but to those of us who want to see this continent prosper, it's something worth interrogating. In this fast changing world, it is important that we set realistic timelines in order to achieve optimal utilization of both the financial and human capital. Let us have expiry dates on all educational qualifications in order to realize meaningful and rapid economic transformation.